So it seems like the brand of Hugo Boss is always up to something. And of course, one of my favorites from the brand, which is an Unique Monardo composition, is the original Boss Bottled, which used to be known as Boss Number 6 or something along those lines. Well, in the year 2020, we have a limited edition from Hugo Boss. This one is called Boss Bottled Marine. I'm excited to give you my thoughts on this fragrance and also let you know what I think in terms of how it stacks up against other flankers from the line. So make sure to stay tuned. Now, before I begin today's review on Boss Bottled Marine by Hugo Boss, and I tell you all about this fragrance, what it smells like, the notes, the longevity, comparisons, all that good stuff, I do want to start things off by mentioning that if you are a fan of fragrance-related content, please do consider supporting this channel by subscribing to it. Of course, make sure to enable all notifications by clicking on the bell icon, and give this video a thumbs up if you take something of value from today's episode. Now, this one actually has a very simple note breakdown. Like I said, 2022 release. In the top, you have frozen apple notes and mint. In the heart, you have cinnamon and clary sage, so a little spicy, little aromatic. And then in the base, you have patchouli and cashmere wood. Now, when we're looking for a marine note, sometimes we're looking for ambergris or the synthetic version of it, which is called ambroxan. Sometimes we could be looking for a seaweed note or an oceanic accord, ozonic accord. There are definitely a lot of ingredients out there that kind of evoke the smell of the sea or give off an oceanic vibe. I don't see too much of that happening in here. Of course, clary sage does give off a bit of an aromatic profile, and mint is often associated with bright, energetic, ocean types of fragrances. Well, I'm going to talk about these ingredients, how I think they measure and stack up against other iterations from this line. I'm also going to talk to you a little bit about the longevity of this fragrance, but let's take a quick look at the presentation. So right in the opening of this fragrance, you're going to get this apple and mint combination. Now, this isn't an overly mentholated kind of a scent, so you aren't going to get a whole lot of mint from it. There are some other fragrances out there like Cartier Roadster or Acqua Decima by Eau de Thalie. There's a lot of fragrances that smell very strongly of mint, even a Xerjoff called 1861 Renaissance. This one is not it, right? In terms of a mint dominant offering, the mint is in there and it's blended rather nicely with the other ingredients, but it's not the star player of the composition is basically what I'm trying to say. The apple, however, opens up very nicely and very tartly, and it has a really good flavor to it. And I can see how the cinnamon that is gently drizzled on top adds a really nice dimension to the apple. So it does open up with a bit of sweetness, and don't be mistaken, there's actually something in the dry down that is evocative of the sweetness that you'll find from a lot of mass marketed designer fragrances out there. So I am thinking of Invictus by Paco Rabanne. I am thinking of Versace Eros. Now, this doesn't smell explicitly like any of those fragrances, which is a good thing, right? We also always want to veer in the direction of uniqueness and originality. But I think that you are going to sense something rather similar in the base that will put you in the frame of mind of something like a Versace Eros or an Invictus Aqua or any of the other flankers from Paco Rabanne Invictus. So here it does open up with that tart apple, a touch of mint, not too much of it. You are going to get that cinnamon spice, which actually comes across smelling rather nice and delightful. Now, clary sage has become a really popular ingredient in fragrances, at least in the years 2021 and 2022. Of course, we see it in fragrances like H24 by Hermes, and it just gives fragrances a very nice, youthful, fresh and contemporary masculine feel, and I feel like that is precisely the effect that it's having in this fragrance. And I think it joins with the mint very nicely to give off an effect that is youthful, fresh, refreshing, but also quite energetic at the same time, because I think mint falls more in the energetic category and clary sage falls more in the youthful, modern, gentlemanly category. Now, in terms of the base notes, you have cashmeran or cashmere wood and patchouli. There isn't anything overly earthy about this fragrance. When we say patchouli, I'm convinced. If you said something like oak moss or vetiver, I wouldn't be convinced. However, when it comes down to the cashmere wood, there is another fragrance that I've been wearing a lot recently, and that also contains cashmere, and the two are oftentimes interchangeable. And that fragrance by Ormond Jane is called Montabaco Verano. Now that fragrance has grapefruit and cashmere, and I love the way that thing smells. And I do actually sense a bit of a similarity in this fragrance. Not in the effect that it's a carbon copy or it's in the same family, but they do share some of the same ingredients, specifically that cashmere or cashmere wood that you'll find lingering in the base. So basically, if I were to sum up the way that this smells, I would say it opens up with a nice tart apple note. Not photorealistic per se, but it does smell rather nice, very professional smelling, not overly sweet. And so I think that that's going to win a lot of brownie points for people. It doesn't smell cloying or juvenile or anything like that. There is an aura of professionalism about it, which is highly enjoyable. And then you're going to get a nice balance of clary sage and mint. Neither one of those two ingredients really aim to steal the spotlight from the others. And then in the base, it becomes rather warm and ambery. You do get a bit of a coumarinic feel about it. So I do sense a bit of coumarin, which comes in the form of tonka bean, but also ethyl vanillin, so aka vanilla. So you do get a touch of sweetness, but it doesn't hold a candle to other fragrances like 1 Million by Paco Rabanne. That is about 7 times sweeter than this fragrance. Now, in terms of that marine accord, it's marine in the sense that the fragrance employs a combination of cashmere and clary sage, which could be sclarine, a synthetic molecule. However, I think if you're on the market and you're looking for something that veers in slightly sweeter territory, this is not it. You should probably go with Hugo Boss The Scent Private Accord. You can go with the original Boss Bottled. So this one is a bit fresher, but I don't think it's entirely marine or oceanic. I think it does have a fresher vibe about it, but it doesn't necessarily evoke the type of smell that I would typically associate with a marine composition. When I think of fragrances like Ege by Nichané or Oceania by Roja Parfum, those are in a sense more marine than this one is, because I feel like there's enough of that ambery tonka bean vanilla backbone that still keeps it smelling rather sweet, but it also possesses a little bit of a refreshing touch to it, which makes it slightly brighter than previous iterations, and I think that that's going to be a plus for a lot of people, especially if they're looking for something that is not as heavily into this sweet direction. Let's go ahead and finish things off with my overall assessment. So first up, in terms of the uniqueness and the overall smell, I do find this to be a fairly unique fragrance, given the fact that it is a true flanker in the sense that it is going to be evocative of previous iterations within this brand. I've actually reviewed several of them. I'm just going to randomly leave a card to one of them up here, maybe the original, maybe a flanker. Longevity on this one is about 7 to 8 hours, which is pretty good. Projection on this one is great for the first hour of application. I don't know if it ever radiated beyond an arm's length, and it did actually start to sit closer to the skin right around that 5-hour mark. Versatility is pretty good. I can see myself wearing this one in all seasons because of that marine accord or that ozonic accord that's in there. I would wear this one in the hotter weather, but because of the sweetness and some of the heavier ingredients like the patchouli, I would also wear this one in the colder weather. Because of the price, I know it just came out. I bought mine from Macy's, and when I bought it, they had only the 100 ml available. So I think once it starts to get discounted, I can certainly see people wearing this very comfortably in a casual scenario. I think for the time being, people will feel inclined to wear it in a formal scenario. It is marketed for men, and it does possess some contemporarily and traditionally masculine ingredients, and so I do kind of agree with that. And in terms of the presentation, it has kind of like a frosted glass feel in a blue bottle, so there's no denying that this is aimed at creating kind of a marine vibe. And so my final verdict on this fragrance is, if you are a fan of the original Boss Bottled, but you want something that is perhaps not as sweet, something that you can feel great wearing to the office, something that lends an aura of classiness and professionalism to the fragrance, I would definitely check out Boss Bottled Marine by Hugo Boss. I think it's a solid release. I don't know if it's my favorite. I love this scent Private Accord. That's probably one of my favorites from the brand, and the brand continues to release new fragrances every single year. As a matter of fact, it feels like they release multiple fragrances every single year. So it's only February. Who knows what's going to be in store for the rest of the year. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this review of the brand new Hugo Boss Boss Bottled Marine. If you enjoyed this video, please do consider supporting the channel by subscribing to it. Hit the bell notification so you can keep updated on new posts and uploads that I make to this channel. Of course, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and leave a comment down below. What is your favorite Hugo Boss fragrance? I'm going to basically look through the comments. I'm going to reply to as many as possible. I always love the interaction. So thank you again for watching. I hope everybody is doing well. Stay safe. Love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.